1945, a small group of American soldiers faced a terrifying reality. Outnumbered, outgunned, and with no reinforcements in sight, they prepared to hold their ground against tens of thousands of German troops. Yet, incredibly, the enemy never attacked. Why? Because the Germans believed they were facing an entire armored division. But the truth was chilling. There were no real tanks, no massive battalions, and no artillery firepower. What the Germans had seen and heard was an illusion. Rubber tanks, recorded sound effects, and fake radio chatter. This was the work of the Ghost Army, one of the most extraordinary and secretive units of World War II. The Ghost Army, officially known as the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, was unlike anything the world had ever seen. Created in 1943, it was a unit of deception, an army designed not to fight head-on, but to mislead, confuse, and outwit Nazi intelligence. With only about 1,100 men, they had the power to impersonate entire divisions of 20,000 to 30,000 troops. Their mission was simple in words, but daring in practice: to create the illusion of overwhelming force where there was none, and in doing so, save countless Allied lives. What made this unit remarkable was its composition. Many of its members were not career soldiers, but artists, sound engineers, and designers. They were recruited from art schools, advertising agencies, and even Hollywood sets. These men, people who once painted portraits, built stage props, or worked with recording equipment, were now tasked with waging a war of deception. Among them were future luminaries such as the fashion designer Bill Blass, the painter Ellsworth Kelly, and photographer Art Kane. For them, the battlefield became a canvas, and their art became a weapon. One of their most iconic tools was the inflatable tank. These enormous rubber models could be carried by a handful of men, inflated in minutes, and from the air looked virtually identical to real Sherman tanks. Alongside them came decoy jeeps, wooden aircraft, and fake artillery. The Ghost Army would roll these props into fields, line them up in realistic formations, and create the appearance of a formidable armored presence. When German reconnaissance planes flew overhead, the illusion was convincing enough to send reports of enemy buildups that simply did not exist. Sound deception added another powerful layer. Engineers had recorded the mechanical roars of tanks, the grinding of truck convoys, and even the clamor of men moving equipment. These sounds were blasted across the countryside using massive loudspeakers that could project up to 15 miles. A German patrol listening in the night would hear what sounded like an army on the move, when in reality, the only things hidden in the trees were a few men with speakers. It was psychological warfare disguised as reality. Radio deception completed the performance. The Germans carefully monitored Allied transmissions, so Ghost Army operators created entire networks of fake radio traffic. They mimicked the habits of real divisions, right down to the quirks of individual radio operators, making it seem as though entire units had relocated overnight. To sell the illusion, they went further, leaving behind tire tracks, setting up dummy camps, and even hanging laundry to simulate thousands of soldiers living in the area. The precision of these details made the illusions almost impossible to detect. Across France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Germany, the Ghost Army carried out more than 20 deception operations. One of the most daring was during the Rhine River crossing in March 1945. As real Allied divisions prepared for a critical assault, the Ghost Army staged a massive fake operation miles away. They deployed rubber tanks, broadcast endless convoys of sound, and filled the airwaves with false radio chatter. German forces scrambled to prepare for this phantom threat, unknowingly leaving the real crossing point far less defended. Thanks to the deception, the Allies secured their position with far fewer casualties. Historians estimate that the Ghost Army's tactics saved tens of thousands of American lives during the war. Despite their incredible success, secrecy surrounded the unit. After the war, the men returned home and resumed their lives, most never telling their families what they had truly done. The story of their deception remained classified for nearly 50 years, hidden in military archives. Only in the 1990s did the truth begin to surface. And in 2022, the United States officially recognized the Ghost Army with the Congressional Gold Medal, finally honoring their courage and creativity. The Ghost Army stands as a powerful reminder that wars are not always won by brute force alone. Sometimes imagination and ingenuity can change the course of history. By transforming the battlefield into a stage and using illusion as their weapon, these artists and engineers demonstrated the extraordinary power of deception. Their legacy continues to influence modern military strategy, showing us that victory can be as much about what the enemy believes as what they see. If this story of hidden soldiers, inflatable tanks, and battlefield trickery intrigued you, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Each week, we uncover hidden histories and untold mysteries that shape the world we live in today. Don't miss the next journey into the past, because history is full of secrets waiting to be revealed.